Hello, this is the first lecture in Word 2013 Unit D. Unit D talks about formatting documents. We talk about formatting documents in many ways. We talk about how you can set document margins, how you can create sections and columns within your document, how you can insert page breaks, page numbers, headers and footers, how to insert tables, how to insert footnotes and endnotes, and that's where this lecture is going to stop. We're not going to cover inserting citations or managing sources because that's not covered as part of the lectures for this course, nor is it part of your assignment. So we're going to skip through the last part of this lecture. But when we're looking at objectives for today, the first thing in this first part of this lecture, we're going to talk about document margins. And margins are the blank areas between the edge of the text and the edge of the page. Now, some printers have a default margin of, say, around 1/4 of an inch, so you're not going to want to print right out to the edge anyhow. By default, margins at the top, bottom, left, and right sides of the page are set at 1 inch. And when you change the margin, it changes the amount of text that'll fit on the page. It'll change the way the text looks on the page, and it'll change the actual document itself. Under the document area where you're going to be changing things as far as page layout menu choice goes, you're going to look at page orientation. Portrait orientation means the page is taller than wide. You've got your 8.5 is across and your 11 inches of a regular sheet of paper is down. Paper size, default paper size is, like I just said, letter size at 8.5 by 11. Landscape orientation is when it's turned on its side, when your page is wider than it is tall. So we're going to look at how to set margins on a page. And I'm going to pull up a document right now so you can see how to get to that page margin document within your document. You're going to go to the Page Layout tab, and within the Page Layout tab on the left-hand side you have Margins, Orientation, Size, and then you've got some other items here. You've also got one of those handy-dandy drop-down arrows. If you click on that, it'll bring up the window that you're going to see in your textbook about where you can set your margins, where you can set your orientation. You can set your multiple page look. You can do a preview. You can also change your paper size. You can change actually which tray your paper comes from. If you've got a multi-trade printer and you have, say you're writing a document that goes on company letterhead and tray 2 by default always holds letterhead, then you would want to select tray 2 as a default tray for this letter. And then also you've got a document area where you could set each section starts a new page. If you've got headers and footers, if you want to make the headers and footers different. On the first page, say we're making a document and had a cover sheet on it, you'd want different on the first page, and you'd want the first page to count as page 0. So the first page of the document would start at 1. You can change where your headers and footers are located on the page. You've also got an area down here where you can work on borders and line numbers. But we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to go back to the slides. Let me skip over to here. So this is the menu we were just looking at, and it shows you the default margin settings, the gutter margin, page orientation, select the gutter position. You can set your margins for your multiple pages. You can preview the margin settings. Tells you down at the bottom whether you want to set it for the part of the document or the whole document. So here's a document that you'll see on page 79 in your textbook. It shows you how the page looks when you have a document open. You've got your ruler across the top. You've got your ruler on the bottom. The gray area on the ruler is where your margin is. It's actually the gray area is where you're not going to type, you're not going to print. Down at the bottom of the page you can see your page number of how many pages there are in the document. It'll tell you page 2 of 10 or page 1 of 5. Whatever document you've got loaded will tell you the size of it. And the ruler will also show you at the top the location of the right margin. And the document margins are narrower on this document than the original defaults by choice. So in order to set document margins, you want to set the margin options in a multiple page document. You want to mirror margins that are used in the document with facing pages such as magazines, where the outside margins and the inside margins could be different. You might have the inside margin a little bit further over. so that you've got the capability of binding that document. The gutter margins used in documents that are bound, such as books, and the gutter adds extra space to the top left or inside margin to allow for binding, like I just said. And you set the mirror margins on the gutter on the Margins tab also.